One day, the villagers assembled for a council meeting. This meeting was called at the last minute. There was urgent news. A large, muscular man stood at the center of his people. They called him the Warrior. He was the best warrior anybody had ever seen. Never had he lost a battle. He was both feared and respected. When he had the people's attention, he told them that the next village over had declared war on their village. At this news, everyone began murmuring. The warrior could hear the worry in their voices. He quieted them down and told them the other village was having trouble growing crops and knew that they had been growing plenty of food. The warrior tried to reason with them, saying his village would have been glad to share, but that wasn't enough for the other village. They wanted the land for themselves. The warrior eased the minds of his people. He would go into battle and save their bountiful land. The villagers immediately felt at ease. Their warrior never lost. The other village knew of the warrior and were beginning to feel worried. They didn't have a good chance of winning, and they had already declared battle. They would look foolish if they backed down, and they wanted that land for themselves. So one of the warriors devised his own plan. The day before the battle was to commence, he sneaked into the warrior's teepee and slipped poison into the warrior's mouth. The next day, the hunter went into the warrior's teepee to wake him up, but found he was dead. He immediately told his people the horrible news. Everyone worked together to plan the warrior's funeral. They wanted to mourn, but there was a battle they had to get ready for. The warrior was buried close to the vegetables. He was a protector and must be buried close to what the village needs protecting the most. After the burial, the people began to ready for the battle. The day flew by and everyone went off to bed. The hunter stopped at the warrior's grave and said a quick prayer. He then went off to bed. He had to fight the next day as they needed all the men that were able. Overnight, trees grew on and around the warrior's grave. The villagers woke up to see giant redwoods surrounding them. They had never seen anything so big. There was a small forest that sprouted overnight. The trees were so large that the new forest seemed enormous. The biggest tree was right above the warrior's grave. The hunter walked up to it and carved a TW into the tree. The villagers were in awe of the sight that lay before them. But they could not stare for long. A battle was coming up. They all had to get into their places. Just then, the hunter had an idea. They could use the trees to hide behind, taking the other villagers by surprise and providing protection. The men got into place, each hiding behind a tree and waiting. The plan worked just as they hoped it would. They won the battle and could keep their land. However, nobody wanted to celebrate. Instead, they probably mourned the death of the warrior. The villagers built a fire and sat around it, and the singers brought their drums. They began to beat their drums and chant as the other villagers dropped their head in silence, remembering the warrior and how, even through death, he always protected his people.